Hello everyone. It is hard to believe, but we're in week 5 already. One third of the semester almost gone. The topic for the next 2 weeks is IEP goals and objectives and teaching approaches. This is a 2-week unit, so you have the next couple of weeks to go over all the materials that I posted and your readings, and also to complete the assignments for the next 2 weeks. You have until not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that. As you know by now, orientation and mobility is an important component of the comprehensive delivery of services for students who are blind or visually impaired in public school settings. When teaching orientation and mobility to our students, the goal is to provide them with techniques and strategies so they can travel as independently as they can in different environments. Under IDEA, orientation and mobility includes teaching students who are blind or visually impaired the use of existing vision, to develop and use spatial and environmental concepts to establish, maintain, and regain orientation and line of travel. The use of long cane or other travel devices, including wheelchairs, for safe travel. The use of low vision devices, and also other concepts and techniques and tools to be independent. Orientation and mobility in public school settings should involve a team approach in order to meet the needs of the diverse population that we work with. The delivery of orientation and mobility services should not be limited to totally blind students, but it should also include infants and preschoolers, those students who have multiple disabilities, and also students who have low vision. Sometimes we see that these students are not being provided with orientation and mobility in as much as our totally blind students, but we need to be careful and follow our assessment results to provide services to these students. Also, orientation and mobility instruction should not be taught in isolation, nor should it be limited to the teaching of only formal orientation and mobility skills and techniques. Depending on your students' needs, you could be providing services in a variety of settings, from more traditional settings such as the school campus or the school environment, to community, street crossing, a mall perhaps. As you probably know by now from your readings and also from your observations of the orientation and mobility specialists working, these specialists have a very unique work situation. They usually work one-on-one with students while still collaborating with a team, but they mostly work one-on-one with students. They work in a variety of settings like I mentioned, like home, school, community environments. They have non-traditional hours. Some orientation mobility specialists often start their day very early in the morning before the students start, the regular schedule. Sometimes they have evening lessons and or after school training. And many are itinerants, or they travel from school to school to meet the needs of their students. And most of the orientation mobility specialists that we are going to find working with kids are going to be working with limited supervision. After conducting the orientation and mobility assessment and determining the areas of strengths and needs of our students, the orientation and mobility specialist is going to be making appropriate recommendations, and then also suggesting and developing individualized educational program goals and objectives. It's important to remember that a long-term goal cannot be the standard. You can show how it relates to the standard, but it cannot be the standard. All children have to meet the standard, so it cannot be the goal on the IEP. Writing goals and target behaviors is kind of like a writing formula. The process must result in goals that are observable and measurable. And once you master these the steps of this formula, you will be able to develop goals quickly and accurately. The components of a long-term goal should include first a proposed change in performance, then a proposed change, a proposed area of change, and a proposed condition. Goals are broad and often more vague. We used to write them for 1 year, and now they are written for up to 3 years for the IUP. Also, remember to keep activities out of the goal. Goals should be broad enough to be used in a variety of settings, so you should keep that in mind. The components of the short-term objective should include the student for whom the objective is intended. You can use the first name of the student to personalize the objective. The conditions under which the student is expected to display the behavior. A statement of precise, observable target behavior that the student is expected to display or do. The criteria for successful performance of the behavior. Make sure you are using a variety of ways to show success. Too often we get caught up in the 80 to 90% when we're writing as a criteria when we're writing the objective, but some goals cannot be measured that way. Think about how you can really show the success of your student. For example, accuracy of 95% or frequency within 5 seconds of prompt. The duration, you can provide minutes. The rate, for example, 10 problems in 5 minutes. The speed is going to complete whatever you want him to complete in a certain amount of time. Rate and accuracy, and also duration and frequency. For example, for a 20-minute period within 10 seconds of prompt or cue. Also, the procedures that will be used to evaluate the performance must be specific. Teacher observation is not enough. You can observe, but then you must document. You must provide documentation. And the last component will be the schedule for evaluating performance. Quarterly for 30 consecutive days on 4 different tests every 5 weeks by certain date, etc. I realize that some school districts follow different protocol. However, the School of Special Education has adopted these guidelines, which are expected to be followed by all learners. So when I'm grading your IEP goals and objectives assignments, I'm going to follow this protocol. So please make sure that you adhere to them when working on your assignments later on the semester. You can find more information on how to write goals and objectives following our program's guidelines under this week's readings. For this week, you have an online discussion, and it's not going to be due at the end of this week, but at the end of the second week. You have a link to submit journals for weeks 5 and 6. You have readings for this week. And also please remember that your assessment report is due March 4th. You still have almost a month to complete it, but I just wanted to remind you just in case that you haven't started yet. I would like to have a synchronized chat. If you cannot make it, you can always, I will archive it and you can access it later. But I will have to I would like to have a chat with those of you who are thinking or planning to come to UNC in June for your blindfold course. I would like to talk about the expectations, the times, the dates that the course is going to be offered, etc., and answer any other questions that you may have about housing, etc. So if you can make it, that will be great. If not, I will archive it and you can access it later. And also I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be gone for the next 2 weeks. I am going to the International Mobility Conference in New Zealand, and I will be gone from this Wednesday the 8th through the 22nd. I will try to answer any emails or any postings on the open forum, but I will probably have limited access to internet, so I just wanted to let you know just in case that you email me and I don't respond within the 48 hours. This week you will be learning about teaching approaches and how to make orientation and mobility meaningful and fun. After reading most of your journals that you have submitted, I believe that you will find the readings and materials for this week very helpful and interesting, and perhaps you will be able to compare and contrast what you're reading to what the orientation and mobility you're observing is doing. Okay, this is all for now. Have a great week, and I'll be talking to you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.